right, we are good. So, Joey, whenever you are ready.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pizzas Here podcast. We're back today with season 2. What
Explosive diarrhea.
was that? We can restart whenever he gets situated. Are you good?
What's up?
Are you good?
Yeah, sorry. My dad answered something.
I wasn't even looking at the call because I'm reading off of a little script. I didn't even know what happened.
No, it's all good. Sorry.
All right, well, restart the OBS and tell me when you're.
I got you. Sorry. Let me
situated.
press record. I had to get something going. All right. 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pizzas Here podcast. I'm EA. I'm also joined today by Jake and Joey. We are without Will today, but he might join mid-episode. But today we're back with season 2, episode 10, and we're joined by a very special guest, JP, founder and managing editor for Japers Rink, a Washington Capitals blog and news site within SB Nation, a sports blogging network owned by Vox Media. Thanks so much for joining us today, JP. How's it going?
It's going real well. Thanks so much for having me on.
Yeah, of course. Happy to be here. So, what was it like starting Japers Rink back in 2005? And what was the experience like of building up your brand from the ground up?
Oh, wow. So back when you guys were in kindergarten, I assume, I started the blog when I was actually studying for the Maryland State Bar exam. It was just after I had graduated law school, and I wanted to not study for the bar exam, so I started writing about the Caps, and it was actually during the lockout when I started writing, and there wasn't that much to write about, but writing about the labor issues. And then when the Caps did come back finally, and they had Alex Ovechkin, exciting rookie, and the team was rebuilding and heading back in the right direction. And luckily in this town, for someone in new media, Ted Leonsis and the team were very receptive and embracing of what we were doing as new media. Us guys like Eric McErlane with Off Wing Opinion, Unfrozen Blog back in the day. Obviously they needed us and we needed them, so it worked, and it really helped grow that brand, I guess. And then along a little later came SB Nation, and we hooked up with them and just been riding it ever since.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
What are a few of your favorite memories so far during your time in the hockey writing business?
Well, I mean, aside from the obvious on ice stuff, with the team winning the cup and everything, it's just been cool to get some opportunities to be in the locker room, to talk to Alex Ovechkin, to talk to guys in the press box. Some of my favorite memories really have been hanging out with guys like Mike Vogel and some of the other media members I've gotten a chance to get to know, Alan May, and it really it's the friends we made along the way, right? But I mean, in all honesty, it kind of is. There are a lot of people I've met through it that I probably wouldn't have otherwise, and it's been a real kick getting to know those people and getting to know the game from a perspective. I'm not a journalist. I never claimed to be one. I'm not trained as one. Wouldn't want to be one, frankly. But having some pseudo journalistic access at times has been pretty cool. And thank the team for that, and thank the organization. But it's also been a lot of hard work, and I've had good fortune to have a lot of good writers and hard workers that have joined up with me on the site and elsewhere, and it's just been a really kind of supportive and growing environment.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's pretty sick. That's really cool. So what's your favorite part of being the managing editor, like day-to-day stuff? Like what's that like experience like for you? And is it like, is there a lot of perks to it, or is there a lot of like hardships to it? Like what's that experience like?
No, I mean, it sucks. Like,
Wow.
managing people sucks. Like, you know, I guess some people are cut out for it. In my real job, I stay away from it as far as possible. I try to stay away from it in every aspect of my life if I can. I'm a kind of person who just likes to do my own work and be responsible for that and not have to worry about other people's crap. But like, I guess as managing editor, you know, there are mornings where it's like, hey, we don't have anybody signed up to recap tonight. What the fuck, you know? I'm sorry, I don't know if you guys curse or not. But,
no, it's okay.
It's fine. It's fine.
Plenty of that.
So, yeah, I mean, we have great, hardworking writers on staff, but it's still, you know, a day-to-day kind of, okay, we need to push out some content. We need to write about stuff, you know, trying to motivate people, you know, to write and stuff can be a little taxing, but, you know, we don't push stuff out just to push stuff out. So we're not going to, you know, throw a caption before and after some player's wife's Instagram post and call it a post or something like that.
Right.
But, you know, we're more interested in probably taking a analytical look at what's going on or something of that nature. So it's fine. It is what it is. It's not glamorous. You would think that it would be just like nice. You'd think it would be like all like just, you know, girls and fans and just be amazing to be a managing editor of mid-level fan blog, but no, it's not.
What do
It's
you
a
mean?
good
It's always
positive
glamorous. Oh man, yeah, I could definitely see how it's like tough because, like you said, you know, a lot of people there's obviously like the upper echelon of like the writers and stuff, like the people that are for like not saying like this isn't like an insult, but obviously the people who are like given like, you know, money to do this for like their living, like, you know, the people for
Sure.
The different newspapers. I can't even think of the names. The Washington Post, New York Times, all that stuff. But obviously, you guys, you know, you're doing this out of your own, like, you know, intuition and whatever, like you can think of. It's not like you've got the backing that you have, but the fact that you still put out like a product like that is impressive to say the least. Because it's like, you know, most of you have other jobs, so this isn't like your primary source of income. So you're really just working off the backs of your own labor, of course, which is really impressive.
Right. I mean, it's a hobby for all of us. It's something we do not for money or not for access. Although, you know, we've had a writer who left our blog and works for the team in media relations now. You know, we have writers who have started other things, who've gone to Sports Illustrated, gone to ESPN, gone places. And it's great to be able to provide younger writers with aspirations, with a platform and with access that they might not be able to get anywhere else, because, you know, it's certainly not going to be my career, and I've got my career, but like, you know, for some younger writers, aspiring writers, you know, we do have some good visibility and we do have some good access, and, you know, giving them a chance to be seen. I think it works for everyone. I know that, you know, some people might disagree with the whole premise of something like that, but you know, in general, we've found success with it.
Hey, I mean, you give me 28,000 followers on Twitter, and I'll write whatever you want.
Well, come on, you know, let's talk afterwards.
Bet. I'll do it. So the Caps gave us, you know, like they always do, a good amount to talk about this past week. I tweeted this yesterday, but it was nice, you know, seeing the tables turn. This time it was us being saved by the post twice in a shootout to get a win, just like Chicago got against us a couple weeks ago. So that was nice to see. But on Monday, we beat the Ducks in a shootout 4-3. On Friday, we lost to our rival Penguins 4-2. And then Saturday, we won 3-2 in a shootout against the Sabres, saved by the post on separate occasions in that shootout. So I guess we can ask JP first. Was there anything else? I mean, was there anything that stuck out really interesting or just, mind blowing in those stretch of games that you wanted to talk about?
They're plugging along, right? And the whole season so far has been an exercise in getting by and getting through with some major injuries. The whole second line for most of the season so far has been gone. Oshie, Backstrom, Mantha, just gone.
Yeah.
And they've managed not just to tread water, but to succeed. It's really been pretty incredible that they are where they are in the standings despite those injuries. So, you look at those injuries and you would have said, okay, they just got to keep it close. They got to, stay in decent position. And they've done a lot more than that. And huge credit to the top line, huge credit to the goalies, huge credit to Pierre Laviolette, really, for what he's done. I mean, to me, what he's done so far is worthy of some discussion, early, of course, but worthy of some discussion for like Coach of the Year consideration. Definitely. Because it's not, Alex Ovechkin gets all the credit for good reason, but he's been put in positions to succeed, and he's succeeding. And what Laviolette has done with this team defensively has really been impressive to me. They're really one of the top defensive teams in the league overall on a nightly basis in terms of what they're allowing, what they're giving other teams, and if they can keep it going once they get healthy, then sky's the limit, really, for this team.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Someone Xavier had asked us in our questions on our post today, just like what our thoughts were on how impressive the Caps have been so far. Considering that we're doing it with half of our actual roster. At times, different people being out each night, but us somehow still managing to put up points every night and play sound defense majority of the time. It's impressive. And I mean, we've been saying this all year because that's how it's been all year. We're without Backstrom, our, the Robin to Batman for Ovechkin, and then we're without Oshie on times. We're without Hathaway and Dowd right now, who are, crucial on our fourth line. And just, a variety of people have been out. Now Tom Wilson's out. We're going to talk about that more later, but it's impressive how well the Caps have been doing, considering we're first in arguably the toughest division in the NHL right now without it. Yeah, I agree. The Metro is the hardest division in the NHL. And as of right now, the Caps are still in first place with half of an AHL lineup. So it's impressive.
I wouldn't even consider it like any other division. The only division I think you can maybe make the case for is probably the Central, just because of how many teams have, like, you see Chicago starting to play better. You have obviously the Blues, Avs, Wild. I can't think of all the teams on top of my head. But yeah, I think it's interesting to me that he said we're one of the best defensive teams. That's the one thing that's actually been the one consistency, barring the fact that TVR has been put on COVID. Our defense has remained pretty healthy, which is nice, because last year I remember I remember that we had all those issues. We didn't know where Chara was going to be into it. Like Dylan was having issues. Then all of a sudden, like Carlson got hurt at the end of the year. And like this year, it's like, well, TVR had COVID and that, sucks, but like, he's not like gone forever. He'll be back soon. He'll be good. And when he was in the lineup, he played really well. I don't really think there's any defenseman right now of the starting six from opening night, I would say, doesn't deserve their spot. I mean, Schultz, I don't know, but I mean, at least he's not like terrible. I mean, he's actually
like, on occasion he's iffy at times, but again, it's like he hasn't like stood out like enough, like just to the naked eye, like say for someone like Brendan Dillon. I mean, I think we've all agreed and come to the conclusion now that he definitely got a little more flack than he deserved. But, at the same time, there's a reason that we got rid of him, and there's a reason that people had mixed opinions on the guy. But we haven't had a defender this year that's like stood out like very extremely in the wrong. So that's definitely something really nice that we have right now is
Carlson
no one's
sometimes.
exceptionally bad. You know, Carlson has at least one moment each game where it's like, I want this guy sent to the Bears, but you know, it's like he's John Carlson, so he makes up for it at some point. But
that's the thing is, like,
at least once a
offensively,
game.
we pay him enough where as long as the offensive output's really good, as long as he's not like throwing the puck right to them in front of the net, I can.
He did do that. He did that against the Sabres.
So
he did it against the Sabres. He just fanned on a pass right in front of our net, but it somehow got like broken up.
Good.
I mean,
God, the Sabres are bad.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, if they're bad, then we're not very great because we took them to the shootout. So.
Took them to shootout. So.
America's team, the Buffalo Sabres.
America's team.
We got to say that at least once an episode. America's team, Buffalo Sabres.
Team. Our Buffalo Sabres.
Move over Dallas Cowboys and the Patriots. The Buffalo Sabres are America's team now.
But like if we're winning 2 out of the 3 games we're gonna play a week, I think that's gonna be I think that's okay. I mean,
we don't have to win the Metro. We just got to make the playoffs right now. That's our objective. Yeah.
But
I know it's a little early, but like, who would you want to play in the playoffs as of right now?
Oh God, that's a whole.
I don't want to play the Hurricanes.
Yeah, not the
we're talking first round, so we're thinking around the wild card to like the bottom 6 in the Metro.
Who would it be?
You have the Rangers are probably in the mix for that.
I don't want to play the Rangers either.
I don't want to play.
the
Rangers. They seem like they've gotten things going. I would say the Penguins, the Red Wings, the Bruins. They're all in the mix.
Contention right
the
now?
Devils. Yeah.
The Red Wings are.
Those are like the 4
The Red Wings are kind of they're 5th right now in the Atlantic, behind the Bruins, Lightning, Panthers, and Leafs.
Those are the 4 I'm kind of on board. They're going to be in that race. It's the Devils.
I don't want to play the Leafs or the Panthers or the Lightning or the Bruins.
I'd rather not.
I'd rather just like go straight to the Cup final and play like the Senators or something. You know,
go back to last year,
dude. Yeah, we finally got our first win in not regulation.
Outside of regulation.
So outside of regulation,
the whole season. 2 this week.
So that
wasn't
great,
on my bingo card.
It's funny. I didn't have the chance to watch any of the games this week. I only had to watch highlights because I had some finals stuff and school stuff I was preparing for. But I'm glad we didn't lose to the Sabres in overtime because that would have sucked.
My friends would have clowned you.
Oh, my friend would have clowned me, but I clowned him. So funny. Just off. I don't mean to sidetrack. I'm not trying to sidetrack. It relates to this. First Caps game I went to was a Caps Sabres game, and they went to a shootout. But before that, Sam Reinhart hit the post on an open net to send it to make sure he didn't score and went to overtime.
Sam Reinhart.
It just goes full circle.
Sam Reinhart, the guy who was picked over Leon.
Hey, you want to know what's full circle? You want to know what's really full circle? Does anybody remember the last game before the pandemic was in Buffalo? It was a shootout. Pandemic's over, baby. We won. It's over.
I wouldn't say the pandemic is over.
But
no, it's not.
I don't know about that.
I would like to.
I still have to wear a mask to class.
I would always like to beat the Penguins, but we'll see them. We'll see them again. I'm not worried about it.
I would much like to ask it's Japers, right? Japers Rink. I didn't catch it when you asked. JP. What did you think about the Penguins game? Because it was not good from what I remember. It was obviously the Fehervary hit should have been a 5-minute major. There was the multiple different chances where like the Tom Wilson when he crashed in the net against Jari, it looked like someone literally hooked him down and threw him into Jari. Like, what did you think of all these like really bad calls in that game?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the calls just don't go your way. I thought it was ridiculous that they didn't call McGinn for that hit on Fehervary in real time. I thought it was ridiculous that the league didn't review it. They obviously don't believe that there was contact with the head, or it was not avoidable contact with the head, or some shit like that. I mean, it's kind of mind-boggling to me that they missed that one, but it happens, and all you can do is put yourself in a position to not let bad calls decide your games. You just play your game. you take it out of the ref's hands if you can, because I mean, it's the same thing I tell my daughter when she's playing soccer and she's complaining about refs. It's like, you know, if you let a game come down to officiating, you get what you get. You know, you don't know what the hell is going to happen. So, yeah, I mean, to me, those looked like certainly the hit on Faravari looked clearly bad, but you know, I guess they saw it differently, and you know, ultimately, it's a game that just didn't go their way. The Caps smoked Pittsburgh last time they played. This time, different result. You know, anytime those two teams play, it can go any number of ways. You know, so this one didn't go the Caps' way, but I'm not despondent over it. You know, I don't get too worked up highs or lows on any regular season games. You know, anything can happen in any game. So good that they bounced back next night and got 2 points against Buffalo. Those were, no, I mean, I know it's Buffalo and I know they're crap, and I mean, I know they're America's team, but whatever. But they,
yes, sir.
I know that, but you know, there are no real pushovers in this league on a nightly basis. You can find yourself in a tough game with anybody, and to come back and dig deep and get 2 points out of that, that's a good win. You know, might not have been the prettiest thing, you know, when you look at the standings and everything, but a win is a win, and winning on the back of a back-to-back on the road with your backup goalie, with the injuries that they have, without Tom Wilson, without the whole, you know, without Backstrom, Mantha, TBR, that's I'll take that. Sure. I mean, these 2 points, 2 points in mid-December are the same as 2 points in the first week in April when you're fighting for playoff positions. So, you know, you bank these now and thank yourself later, you know.
Yeah, you make a good point, because this isn't like NCAA. Like, we're not like Alabama trying to smoke some like Division III school to pad our record. This is like, if you get a win in the NHL, that's a win. It doesn't matter. And that's what, like, people are going to say, oh, it's sustainable. Oh, is this sustainable? That's probably going to be the thing that they start talking about, considering all of our injuries and stuff, which is fair. But they also have to realize we're getting healthier as time goes on. You know, obviously Oshie's just come back. Dowd and Hathaway are going to come back soon because of their COVID protocol stuff. You have Wilson, who I don't think it's anything serious, because they haven't really said what the hell happened to him at all. They really never really talked about it. And then obviously Backstrom should be back soon. And then Faravari literally took a headshot and said, I'm built different, and played the next day and scored a goal.
Yeah, big goal.
It was a really good goal.
Snipe. It was
awesome.
It was like a couple of the goals that Orlov had last year, just like on that left side, comes right to his left hand, just like cross ice, opposite side, just bang. It was nice. Definitely like seeing that from him. So that kind of brings us into our next little thing. And JP, you can start us off with this, so you can have first picks, so no one takes yours, like I do to Jake every single week somehow. But who's one player on the Caps this week that impressed you, and then one who did not impress you, and you know, you think they need to get something together, or they did a certain thing that you didn't like?
Oh wow. I have to think back. Kind of hard. In full disclosure, I didn't watch the Pittsburgh game because I'm like an old Gen Xer who has like cable and hasn't cut the cord and doesn't have all the Hulu and ESPN Plus subscriptions. So I missed that one. But you know, so it was the Anaheim game?
Anaheim, Pittsburgh, and Buffalo.
You know, I would say I'll stick with Ovechkin. I mean, you can never go wrong. He impressed me. He impresses me every time out. He impresses me with the multiple point games. He impresses me being up there with Draisaitl and McDavid. He impresses me that the greatest goal scorer in the history of the game has just decided this year, apparently, to become a phenomenal playmaker.
0 goals this week, but 5 assists.
Right. I mean, right. It's crazy. And his move in the shootout against Anaheim, that backhand, that was sick. And
That was sweet.
so I'll say he impressed me. Didn't impress me. I mean, maybe it's a bad beat, but I'll give it to Samsonov, who had been so good, and then maybe stumbled a little bit this week. Comes back to earth a little bit, to be expected. I think he's settling into the role in general that we all sort of envisioned for him as the number one guy finally. So I'm not down on him overall, but it wasn't the best week. And he's had, since the West Coast trip, he's had a couple 3-goal against games. Granted, the team has totally left him out to dry a few times in there, but I'd like to see them lock it down a little more, and that starts from the goal on out. So I'll go Samsonov there.
That's fair.
Do you mind if I go next?
Yeah, sure.
All right. For my one player that's playing really well, I'm going to go with the guy who straight up told concussions, I'm built different, Martin Fehervary.
Hey, you're a bitch.
How does it feel? How does it feel?
No,
It's fine. I got a backup, and it's probably your guy,
Martin
Jake. So
Fehervary
you can
can
just
it
watch
probably is
yourself.
I think the Calder race is always so weird because people look at the high
Fehervary
score
is not
guys.
winning the Calder.
He's not winning the Calder, but I genuinely think he is one of the best rookies this year by far. Just how fundamentally sound he is. The role of a defenseman like him is to obviously be more of a facilitator to get things out of the defensive zone, but he does a lot more stuff. So obviously penalty killing, he's incredible. I'm going to be honest. I kind of hope at some point this season they say, let's give him some power play minutes. Let's see how he does working the second unit, because I haven't really been impressed with Schultz. And it's Schultz runs the second unit and he's the whole power play is kind of god awful right now. But yeah, I have to give it to Martin Fehervary. And then if I had to pick my player that was playing bad, it's not going to be Hagen this week. It's probably going to be probably just I don't know. I don't want to pick Carlson. No, Carlson. He really just kind of sometimes just like you said, there are days where he's on another freaking plane of existence, and then there are days where
against
he's
Anaheim.
He did, and it was an impressive goal, but he also almost gave the Buffalo Sabres a win by passing the puck in front of the net, and also was playing dog water against the Penguins, which I'll be honest, not a lot of people played well against the Penguins. They kind of sleptwalked the first 2 periods, but most of them got their shit together. He just always seemed like the guy. What was it? When we were attacking extra player at the end of the game to try to tie the game, the puck got past him, and obviously Ovechkin got back there and tried his best, but Ovechkin can't be the guy that gets back there to stop that. It has to be Carlson at that point. So I guess Carlson. I think JP was yeah, Samsonov coming down to earth kind of sucked, and I do want to say that the Kapanen goal for the Penguins game, I don't know why he didn't stop that. That was a weak goal, but I think Samsonov still played really well. He kept us in the game. He made that ridiculous save against the Penguins, where he was going east to west and somehow flexed his glove out. So I just want to defend my boy Samsonov. All right, who's next?
I am. So, all right. You guys aren't gonna like who I have to say for my pick for bad, but all right. So the person that impressed me this week, Daniel Sprong. He scored in both shootouts, if I'm not mistaken. So I really like that, and I can't remember if it was Joe B or Locker who said it, but obviously he's been scratched on a few occasions this year, and the fact, and they had said that just the fact that one that he scored, this was in the first shootout against Anaheim, and they were it's definitely got to be a big confidence booster for him, just the fact that one, Peter Laviolette picked him to go in the shootout, and 2, that he scored now on both occasions. So also shout out to TJ Oshie for the winner. He's not my pick, but Daniel Sprong, good shit in the shootouts. But my player that I am not impressed with this week is Alexia Protas.
Get out.
He didn't have a single shot in any of our 3 games this week. He obviously isn't on the first line this week, but the fact that he's having Buffalo experience. Huh?
He was against Buffalo with Wilson.
Was he on the first line against Buffalo? Yeah. So you're proving my point. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the stats, right now. He didn't have a single shot in any of our 3 games this week. I know he can shoot the puck. He's scored a few times this year. So I want you to be shooting the puck, Protus. So how about you start doing that? Go ahead,
You
Jake.
slandered the rookie. You officially kicked off the podcast.
That one Connor McMichael play where he almost scored. I can't remember which game it was this week.
Oh
No, that was
he
unbelievable.
did the little 360 spin
Was that
move.
Anaheim?
No, the Ovechkin goal from overtime last night. Holy, almost.
Yeah, he
no.
almost.
That
did
was,
the throwing.
dude. If he
threw the
scored
guy's
that
leg.
goal, I would have been like, "Fuck the McDavid goals." It's Ovechkin through it. Like Ovechkin.
All right. For the player I like this week, I'm gonna say Eller. Eller scored 2 goals in 2 games, so like I feel like we kind of dogged on Eller a couple episodes ago, kind of him not being, who we think he
That was
usually
me.
is. And yeah, it was you. No, I think we all did it, didn't we? Have like a whole thing about.
No, I just
It was
like
Joey
yelling
and Travis saying
I
that he
yelled
should
at
be
That's
traded
right.
or dropped.
And but yeah, I think Eller's been, this week kind of build himself back up. I like that. One thing though, he finally scored a goal. Carl Hagelin finally scored a goal this week.
Shout out Carl
He did
Hagelin.
it.
Oh
future
my
captain.
God,
did
that's
it.
right. How can we
He
forget?
did it.
Like,
Nah,
He
because
listened
that's
to my
one
video.
goal. I'm not impressed.
bro, it's
I don't
Carl
care.
Hagelin. That's like
That's
One
one
goal
goal in
is
like
one
27 games. Big whoop.
1 goal is 10 in my opinion for him. Anyway, that's just worth that. But my realistic answer is Eller. Someone who didn't play well. Oh, man, I gotta look at I had stats
Are you
pulled
just
up.
looking at the
and I just-
roster?
No. I had stats pulled up for the last couple games. And I
What a
just lost it.
casual.
Casual
Yeah.
Caps fan.
Yeah. I didn't watch.
Tell
any
me you
of the
didn't
games, I
watch
just saw
any of the
highlights.
games this week.
Hey man, finals
You
suck.
got finals. It's a grind, bro. Come on.
Finals suck.
So do I.
But I had them this past
Make
week.
a pick. Make a pick.
Yes.
Let's
Shit.
go.
Fuck. You know what? I'm gonna just say Hagelin because he did score 1 goal.
Oh,
That's your not impressed with?
Yeah, it's always Hagelin.
Because it's only
Always
one
had
goal.
one.
You
He
want
has
at
to score
least
2
3.
this
he needs to
Score
score a
2.
hat trick and
Yeah.
also an overtime goal, and
Yeah.
then we'll start talking good about him.
Yeah. All right. So
Hagelin slander always.
Hagelin slander is always welcomed on the Pizzas Here podcast. If you didn't know,
Yeah.
we love him on the penalty kill though. But
Yeah. Penalty kill is fun. Okay.
So like we mentioned a little earlier, we've had a lot of missing pieces right now. Both Hathaway, Dowd, and TVR are all in COVID protocol right now. And Wilson, like we said, is out right now with an upper body injury. We don't think it's too serious, but, if he's missing time for it, then it must be something. And then, obviously, Mantha's out for the near future. And Nicholas Backstrom is still not back yet. But, that sucks. But we also wanted to go through this and ask you which substitute players you think have made the most positive impact or have helped fit that missing role the best. So obviously we've had a couple people like Protus and Cholowski that have been here for a little bit longer, but the more recent guys, Irwin, Scarbosa, Malenstein, and Leeson have all been more recent substitutes and on a emergency basis. But have any of them stood out to you either positively or negatively?
Yeah, I mean, not as much as you might think. I like Brett Leeson early on, but he's kind of faded a little bit. Cholowski and Irwin don't do anything for me, to be completely honest. And some Malenstein, Scarbosa, those type guys strike me as career AHL type guys who can fill in a pinch on your 4th line or something like that. They don't really excite me too much. Protus I did like. I like a lot of what he's done. I like his big body out there. So I think he's really impressed me. And Connor McMichael I think's been very good. But yeah, it's interesting because you look at what they've done and with all the guys that have been out and everything, and then you say, okay, well, who's really stepped up in their absence? And to be honest, it's mostly Ovechkin and Kuznetsov and Tom Wilson who have upped their game even more and picked up that slack. It hasn't necessarily been, Axel Fjallby or whatever, or any of those guys.
He should still be up.
I mean, if you wanted to take him and throw Carl Hagelin in the Potomac River with his $2 million salary or whatever.
You read my mind.
I'd be okay with that. I don't think that Hagelin does much that Fjallby can't do right now. So, but yeah, I mean,
we're very happy that you're on the show today.
It's a team. The team has stepped up, and on an individual level, I haven't been blown away by any of those guys, to be honest. But it's admirable that they've done what they've done, and that the team has stayed afloat. I mean, that's not nothing, even if individually they're not standing out to me.
Yeah, I agree. Like, obviously these guys, like you said, some of them are career AHL players and some of them are, still fringe NHL players and still young in their careers. But the fact, like, something you have to think about, it's like they may not come in and, be some superstar, but the fact that they've like come into someone else's who's a regular established NHL player's role and been able to hold their own and, like you said, keep us afloat. A team's as good as their worst player. That's why the Oilers haven't won shit in years. But, like the fact that they've come into the lineup and, held various positions on various lines. Like we've had Carl Hagelin on the second line because our bottom two lines have been like filled with AHL guys. And it's like the fact that they've been put into different scenarios with different line mates, each and every night. And we haven't like drastically like, decreased in the quality of our plays. It's a very good problem to have. And like the fact that it's a nice, like warming feeling knowing that like, we know it's bound to happen as Capitals fans. We're going to have injuries. It's inevitable, but it's like, it's warming knowing that we have guys that can get in the mix and be thrown into the dogfight and still somehow, like you said, keep us afloat. So it's really nice.
And I think that, that's sort of the silver lining of the injuries, of course, is that you see the depth that you have. And to me personally, the Caps depth has impressed me more than what I thought they had before the season started. If you had told me before the season started the number of man games they would have had lost to, the second line, to Dowd and Hathaway, to even TBR now, I would have said, well, they're fucked, But that the guys have been able to step in and show, not just for Caps management, but they've also shown around the league. When it comes down to the trade deadline, I'm not saying that they move Protas or Leeson, but those guys, there's actual NHL tape on what those guys can do at this level now, and it's not embarrassing. And so, to me, they're chips right now. Maybe they're Caps down the road. That's great. Maybe they're you push a couple of those chips into the pot come trade deadline time and see what you can do there. But getting to see those guys, getting to see that depth, and getting to see that the Caps have more depth than I think a lot of people thought has been the silver lining to the whole injury rash.
Yeah, 100%. So this brings us to a very fun part of our episode.
Did we not get to say our favorite player too? I wanted to say one.
Oh, yeah. I also do really like Malenstein lately. I think he's produced a nice amount of chances, and obviously he's not like scoring a hell of a lot.
I have a player.
He has been good, I think.
I'm sorry. I have a player. It's not really like replacement. He's not a person. He's been here for a long time, but has played really well, and that is Garnet Hathaway. Like I remember early in this season.
We said that last week, but he's not here this week.
I'm saying it again. He's been really good, and I've been really happy with how well he's played. He just genuinely brings a lot of energy and excitement to this team that like really just I think people don't realize how valuable he is and how good his contract is. It's really good. It's a good contract. It's not bad.
Yeah. Hathaway's a very important part to our piece.
Absolutely. And
To
I
our
love how
team.
Hathaway's playing. He also is like third on our team in goals right now, so that's fun.
Yeah. Out of the players we have, just listed on the script right here, Valentine lately, I think, but in general, I think I liked Vezina the best just because I feel like he's produced more than those four. Scarbosa hasn't done much.
Did you guys see Scarbosa's face?
Yeah.
What happened? Did I miss something?
I don't know.
I don't know where he got
his
it.
entire underside of his left side of his jaw was like he had stitches. He must have got hit by a bug or something.
But yeah, Vezina to the beginning and early on, I thought he was skating around really well and kind of producing for us. I think he had, 4 points isn't much, but yeah, 2 goals and 2 assists. I'm pretty sure that's for someone who's not going to be in the lineup a lot, that's pretty decent for someone we're going to be substituting in. That's my answer. I don't have much to say about that.
So this brings us to a fun part of our episode. It's Jake's turn this week. So whenever you're ready, Jake.
Gotcha.
This episode's sponsored by Manscaped.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead,
Ho,
Jake.
ho, ho, gentlemen. The holidays have come early this year, as Manscaped has the gift that keeps on trimming. Santa's beard isn't so appealing when it's coming out of your trousers, and that's why Manscaped, the leaders in below-the-waist grooming, have you covered this holiday season. Now available in your country. Join the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped to keep their trees trimmed and ornaments polished. Go to manscaped.com and use code PHP for 20% off plus free shipping. Again, that's PHP at manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Keep
Go
your
use
balls
our code and buy, whoever, I'm not going to judge, whoever in your life, some below the waist grooming products, best in the country and in the world. Manscaped.com, code PHP, 20% off plus free shipping. But back to the Capitals. So who'd asked us this? Stat Guy Blake, right? Yeah. So
Yes,
this is a
sir.
good question by our good man's Blake. He asked us, not including Kuznetsov or Samsonov. Also, wait, let me just go back. So I also want to mention that me picking Protus for this week for my disappointment isn't any slander to him. I very much like Protus. He's very much impressed me this year. I just want the best from him, and I want the absolute best, nothing less, because I know he can do it. So just want to clear that up. Love Protus. But anyways, like Blake asked us, excluding Kuznetsov and Samsonov, who on the Caps from last year, obviously on the team this year, has improved the most since last year. I'm going first. Nick Jensen, by far. Nick Jensen has improved the most from last year. Not everyone, a good amount of people didn't like Char being here last year. I personally think he held a role, being a big body, being a experienced veteran leader, putting the fear of God into people if they ever come near one of our star players, just by being within 5 feet of them, blocking a hell of a lot of shots. He played that role and he played it very well. But he also mentored and molded Nick Jensen into
Char 2.0.
No, he mended Nick Jensen into full disclosure, beginning of last year, I was a Nick Jensen hater. I didn't think the guy was good. Then progressively over last year and progressively this season, he's become one of my favorite players on the team. I think Nick Jensen overall has been our best defensive player this year, argue with a wall. But Zdeno Chara molded that man into what I think should be an all-star player and what I think is a Norris candidate, like top 10 right now. I mean, I think Aaron Ekblad should win it. That's my take right now. But Nick Jensen has been exceptional compared to our expectations for him. So Nick Jensen is the most improved from last year in my eyes. JP, you can go next.
I think Jensen's a great call. I guess I could take Faravari on a technicality because he played 6 games last year, but I'm going to lay off that. I think that violates the spirit of the question. So I'm not going to go with that. But it could be Samsonov right now. The way he's playing, he's really gotten under control. It's a little early to make any definitive judgments on whether he has righted the ship fully and what he's going to be as a goalie in the NHL. But, his trajectory essentially came into the league 2 years ago and was very, very good for a month, 2 months, whatever, playing behind Braden Holtby. Last year, he had the ATV accident, the COVID, the just random dipshittery that was like keeping him out of the lineup and making him miss his opportunities. Guy's been handed everything and has very little to show for it in his NHL career so far. But I think that, hopefully he's on, right on the right path now and straightening things out and heading in the right direction. So I really like where he seems to be relative to where he was at this point a season ago. So I'll go with Samsonov. I'm much more confident in the Caps goaltending situation today than I was when the season started, in part because I think the defense is much better than I expected it to be, but also because of Samsonov. I think he's been better than I expected him to be.
So the original question said excluding Samsonov, but I really like your explanation. I really like your explanation though, so I'll accept the answer because it was a good backup to it. So
really good.
I'm cool with it.
All right,
because I agree with you.
Well, let me pick somebody else easy then.
No Kuznetsov, because that's the obvious pick.
Yeah. Wilson keeps getting better and better as a player. So I don't think you can go wrong picking Wilson.
Future captain.
Yeah, I mean he certainly seems like it. But I at the end of the day, I do think it's Nick Jensen. I think you're right. I think that was.
If you want to give me a job, just
that's the guy I would have. That's the guy I would have picked if I was going first. And actually,
I had to go first because I had a feeling someone would have taken it. I can't have it twice, but I'm glad you agree with me on that. Jake and Joey, who do you guys have?
Shit.
If you're ready, Jake, you can go.
Jake, go.
I do have one. I'm gonna say Hathaway.
Yeah, that's a good one. Jake, Joey, you didn't even have a pick. Don't act frustrated.
I literally said I liked Hathaway.
How does it feel? How's it feel?
Hathaway. I'm gonna say Hathaway. I feel like he's improved a lot, and obviously that fourth line, the chemistry he has with Dad too. I feel like that always helps both of them succeed. But I'm gonna go. Hathaway's been flying around. What did you say, Joey? He's third scoring on our team right now.
There's no way.
Fourth.
There's no way.
Fourth. But I'm like sure. So how many goals is that?
Let me stat check this right now because there's no way he's top 3 on the team in scoring.
Joey said he's fourth.
All right, so OV 44, Kuznetsov 30, Wilson 24, Carlson 24, Orlov 14, Eller 12, Sherry 11.
Goals.
Hathaway 8, my guy.
Goals.
You said
it's
points.
goals. It's goals.
Okay, he's fourth in goals. Yeah.
I said scoring.
OV 20, Kuzi 9, Wilson 9, Hathaway 7, and then Carlson 6.
And he had like 5 of those 7 in like a
2-game span.
Yeah, he was on fire. So if he can keep it up, I'm very happy.
He's also a very he's also a very underappreciated leader on this team.
He's very.
He really obviously Tom Wilson's our guy, the enforcer. Don't F around with him or he's gonna punch you in the head. But
Hathaway's up there with that.
Hathaway is just as intimidating to guys. No one's gonna mess with Hathaway. And if you get anywhere near either of our goalies near the crease, he's on you an instant. And if you even touch anyone else on the ice at the time, he's gonna be up in your face within a blink of an eye. So
right.
He's definitely a good piece to have.
I'm saying Hathaway.
Joey,
go ahead.
I looked at the roster and I can't fucking find anybody serious. I think if I had to pick somebody Jensen's an obvious pick, I'm going to pick Orlov, in my opinion, because Orlov has become our best defender overall, best defensive player overall, defenseman overall. our best overall defenseman.
I'll put him in second.
Offensively, he's incredible. Defensively, he's very sound and works well with Jensen. He's great. He can do pretty much anything we want him to do now. I'm really hoping they one day just be like, let him be the power play guy too, because I don't know why we aren't giving him power play minutes anymore.
His shot is nuts.
His shot is insane.
Best hip check in the league.
He definitely does off-season shooting training with Ovi.
He does.
I also do really want to mention, I tweeted this the other day, but I really want Victor Olofsson on the Capitals. Like, if you guys watched his shootout goal, it's like his shot release is just so like majestic and like beautifully flowing. Like
I feel like you pair that.
It's not even like a snap, like a quick snap. It's just like a sling. It's like a golf swing kind of like
wrist.
It's like he's swinging a baseball bat and just like finishes in like the little like follow through. It's just
he sort of like guides it almost. Yeah,
it's just very pretty.
I've used him before in NHL one franchise mode. He develops so well, and I think if you put him on a power play unit with Ovechkin, especially if guys like Mantle will be out long term, I think he's a guy you could go and get.
Did you guys also see how Rasmus Dahlin was like trying to like hone in Connor McDavid? Like in those last like few minutes,
he was like, "I'm not going to the shootout." Like,
and then in overtime, like he was trying to like take it to like the whole like every 5 seconds. So it was funny. It didn't work, but like he got close a few times. So I respect the effort. But
yeah, I gotta say Dmitry Orlov. I think what's hilarious is people always kind of forget how Orlov was brought onto this team. You know, like he was brought in 2015, and that was the year we lost Mike Green. And it was like, you know, he's been one of the most underrated pieces of that defense that's been kind of a consistent spot. When he got that big deal, everybody was like, you're giving all that money to a guy who's been on the team for 2 years. You know, you just lost in the second round of the Penguins again. But now he's worth that contract and probably a bigger one too, which is like awesome with how well he's played. He's gotten so much better defensively, and offensively he's gotten more confident as years go on. And like, I could definitely see him becoming the power play leader once Carlson kind of dips off a little bit as soon as that happens.
I do also have to say, nothing against Matt Irwin as a player or a person, but I don't like seeing him wear 52. I'm just not ready for that yet.
No, that's unholy.
Like, I'm not saying to retire the number, but like, it's just still a little too soon for me.
It's like the last time someone wore 52, he was an offensive mastermind and defensively good, and then we just got madder when wearing that shit. Like, it's just like, okay, well, that's an incredible downgrade.
Well, when they came out of right out of the lockout, when Jeff Friesen signed as a free agent, he wore 12, which was in phenomenally bad taste. So, I mean, I guess, you know, you're not going to retire the numbers, they're free for all, but, you know, maybe somebody should have given him a heads up and been like, hey, this number's a little bit,
like he wore it on the Ducks, but it's like, you know, still just like pick 53 or something, like just like do something a little different. Like, but you know, it's whatever. But, so, I mean, we've already kind of talked about the goalies a good bit, you know, just how like Samsonov's improved so much this year. And obviously, you know, Vitek is kind of more the backup now, it's seeming like, even though he was seeming like the starter for a while, a couple weeks ago. But I don't think either of them have been, you know, very bad. So just to go over their stats this week, against the Ducks, Samsonov had 3 goals allowed with 31 saves, .912 save percentage. Sammy against the Penguins, again, had 3 goals allowed with 29 saves and a .906 save percentage. And then yesterday against the Sabres, Vitek had 2 goals allowed with 29 saves and a .935 save percentage. So those aren't bad numbers. I mean, again, like last night, like 935 is a really good save percentage, you know, last night for Vitek. And then obviously Samsonov let in 3 both games, but you know, again, it's not always straight on the goalie to let in goals, but you know, I'm not mad at either of them right now. I'm chilling.
I don't think they were the problem in any of the games, really.
No, probably not. But then, I mean, Vanacek, you know, maybe he gets unlucky in some spots, but then it's not often that you can get just flat beat clean 3 out of 3 times in a shootout and still win, but that was the, getting those posts, getting those 2 posts really helped. But I mean, he got smoked 3 times in the shootout and wins. So, good, clean living, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing for me about shootouts is Vitek is definitely a goaltender who probably he's never, has Vitek ever played for the World Junior team for the Czech Republic? Does anybody know? Because that was
Probably,
a long time
I
ago.
don't know.
I know Samsonov did. He definitely
Right,
played for
sure.
them. He's had experience in this department. He's experienced playing guys who have this talent level to make moves like that. So it's a lot harder when you've basically had the experience. Also, the fact that Samsonov has been an NHL goalie for 3 years now. On top of that, but it's really going to become how I usually start to see that as a problem if they can't stop those one-on-one situations in their 3rd or 4th season. So Vanacek was in his 3rd or 4th year and was getting beat clean on almost every single one-on-one chance. That starts to be a problem. But he's also just this is his first calendar year he's ever played NHL hockey. I think people are kind of forgetting that. Literally the start of this season, funny enough, against the Sabres was his first time ever playing an NHL game. And it's impressive to see that he's at least, basically made the goaltender situation not a problem, but also become a competent enough player to be our starter if things get seriously bad. When we were thinking, oh, he's a borderline AHL starter, we're not going to care for him. But it's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, he's a playable NHL backup, which is great. I mean, that's not everybody can be an all-star, but the fact that he's played himself into viable NHL backup is fantastic for him. And who knows what else? And the one-on-ones. I mean, Samsonov. The shootout doesn't bother me a ton. What goes? It's not hockey. It's a circus or whatever it is. But if a goalie can't stop breakaways, it becomes a problem pretty quick. And to that end, you look at Samsonov, and I don't know what his record on in-game breakaways is, but it sure seems like every single time, if you just open him up a little bit, that 5-hole is right there for every shooter that wants it. So, I think they both could probably use a little help, and maybe the shootouts help, maybe they don't, but they both need to get a little tighter on breakaways, I think.
I think the one thing
won't always be there.
The one thing I wish is I wish Mitch Korn was still on the team. If Mitch Korn was on the team, Samsonov would be a fucking Vezina caliber goaltender right now. He's what he's done with Sorokin in Long Island, and how he basically saved Varlamov's career. He saved Leonard's career. He turned Leonard into an Vezina caliber goaltender is incredible. And I wish that Samsonov got that, because Grubauer got that, Holtby got that, Neuwirth got that and dropped the ball on that. Varlamov got that twice. Now this is the second time he's been with Mitch Korn, and it's incredible to see that he turns goalies' careers around. I'm not saying Samsonov needs it, but he would be incredible. He'd be Vasilevsky, but shorter, basically.
I know we weren't doing it this week for someone around the league who impressed you, but I think we need to mention how Shesterkin in New York has blossomed into possibly winning the Vezina this year. If you look at a lot of people's lists, Shesterkin is number 1 right now, and it's pretty hard to argue against.
Is he Russian?
I mean, I don't know, but
here,
I'll check. But Shesterkin's been very good. He is Russian, so he might go to the Olympics with, obviously Vasi's going to start, but Shesterkin's a very good backup to have. I'd love to have him in Washington, but yeah, I just wanted to mention that. But I also, if anybody doesn't have anything else to say about our goalies, there is one thing that I wanted. Yeah, go ahead, Jake. But
I didn't go yet, so I'll
go ahead.
I'm just glad that we have 2 good young goalies that we can both rely on in any situation. One's out, we just throw the other one in. Beginning of the season was Vitek that we played well, threw Sammy in. He got 2 shutouts that we put him in, and then I just feel like it's been working, and I'm very glad we've had 2, especially young goaltenders to rely on this this season, and I know we relied on Sammy a lot last season too, but still.
The thing that worries me though, like for the moment right now, obviously I'm happy we're in, happy land that we do have two guys that we can put in and be, at least somewhat confident in on any given night. But you got to think, like, obviously they're both under contract right now, but they're both raising their price tag right now. They're both raising their awareness to the rest of the league that they're goaltenders that can be put in on any given night in the NHL, possibly being starters, obviously. So like, I get worried. We talked about this once, and Joey was like, who cares? Like, we're happy right now. We have them both right now, but it does worry me a little bit that maybe like this offseason or a year from now, huh?
They're both RFAs.
Yeah, so
that's why I said I don't care. It's just like we have control next year, no matter what.
But like, I mean, what's stopping one of them, like whoever the designated backup is, whenever it eventually does happen? So obviously we flip flop every 2 weeks, but what's stopping either of them, like at the end of this season or next season, saying, I want out. I want to be a solidified starter somewhere. Because there's definitely teams around the league that would very much be happy to take either of them, I think. So that does worry me a little bit because it's like, if I'm like, so say Samsonov becomes the solidified starter now, he's playing 4 out of 5 games every 5 games. If I'm VTech, I don't want to stay on the Caps in that situation. Like, I want to go because he's obviously proven himself to be capable of being an every nighter in the NHL. So like, if I'm him, I'd be like, either make me a starter or send me somewhere that will. But
well, then hopefully then the Caps get something in return. And
exactly.
You say see ya. Like, I mean, they said see ya to Grubauer. They, it's the nature of the beast. It's you let them go when they become either too expensive or, well, basically when they become too expensive to keep. And like with goalies, that happens real fast. Like, I have no problem. I would much rather let Vanacek walk than pay him $4 million a year or something. You find somebody else to fill that. Maybe Zach Fucale at that point wants to, see if he can make a run at it or something. But, paying for goalies is nuts because they're just too unpredictable. I mean, the Caps are really fortunate to be able to get competent goaltending at an absolute minimum price. I mean, their 2 goalies probably cost less than the starting goalie for 3/4 of the teams in the league, and are probably better than 2/3 of them. So, that's a place where you can find value or really get screwed. And I'm not too keen on spending too much money in goal, that's for sure.
No, yeah, I definitely agree. If we say if Samsonov is our solidified starter at the end of this year, I would not be against shopping VTech, hopefully getting somebody good in return. I wouldn't be against that as long as we have one of them. But I do want to talk about this. I didn't put this on the script because I forgot about it until now, but I think everyone saw this goal, even if you didn't watch that game. Trevor Zegras.
I was going to bring it up.
Milano.
Milano.
Zegras makes a little Michigan-style pass, flips it over the net from behind the goal. Sonny Milano baseball bats it out of midair into the goal. Also, whoever, I think the number was 75, they were playing the Sabres, right?
America's team, yes.
They were playing the Sabres. Number 75, whoever it is, who was guarding Sonny Milano, worst defensive play I've ever seen in my life. He gave Milano just an absolute 5-yard radius in front of the goal to even have the chance to do that. And then, that was just, that was bad defense, but that doesn't take away from the skill of the goal. Insanely beautiful pass, insanely good hand-eye coordination to be able to bat that out of the air and score it. But a head coach that we all know pretty well, John Tortorella, was interviewing somewhere on some TV
He's a
show,
bitch.
whatever.
Yeah, screw him.
Anyways, but he was interviewing and they were talking about that goal, and he proceeds to say that it was a very talented goal. It was very, skilled and, an incredible goal. He acknowledged that, but then he went on to say, he's like, they're saying now all the kids everywhere are practicing this goal and, trying to do this now. And he's like, I don't know if this is good for the game of hockey. You know, I think it's taking away from the actual game of hockey. I don't think this is good for the game. You know, I don't know the exact quote of it, but that was the gist. You know, he's like, I don't know if this is good for the game. And I'm like,
Yeah, it is.
you dinosaur. Like, you know, the game is evolving. You know, people said back in the day that backhanders weren't good for the game, and now they're obviously an important part of it. Like, it was just a boneheaded thing to say. Like,
yeah, it's not the Kenny Pickett's fake slide. Like, it's not going to change rules.
That was sick. That was sick.
Oh, that was
though.
sick.
It's bullshit that that's a rule change. That's
no,
bullshit.
It's not. It's fine. I'm glad they changed that rule. But anyway, hockey. Anyway, it's not going to change any rules in the game. It's a great play, and like you have to give it credit. Like
it's like the
Michigan
same thing.
is
Like
an
everyone,
amazing
like
play,
all the old head critics tried to say it like 5-6 years ago when Steph Curry came into the picture of the NBA. Like, obviously the 3-pointer has never been as big in the game as it was until like 5 years ago when Steph Curry came into the picture. Now it's like all the kids on the playground playing pickup basketball, all they want to do is shoot threes. And now it's like one of the biggest parts of the sport of basketball. And like when that first started, like becoming a big thing, everyone's like, oh, Steph Curry's ruining the game of basketball. No one cares about the fundamentals anymore. All they care about is shooting threes. It's like, you know, have whatever opinion you want, but I mean, that's how sports work. They're going to evolve and people are going to become good at different things. However many years ago, Wayne Gretzky was playing against stand-up goalies. It was easy as hell to score. Goalies started getting into a butterfly stance, and now it's a lot harder to score. Like, the sport evolves as players evolve and become more talented. I mean, I don't know how you can see that goal and like have a reaction of anything other than, wow, that was insane. That was really freaking sick. Like, I don't know how you have any reaction other than that, like not in a positive way.
There's not a player on the Sabres who wears 75. I think it was Tage Thompson who wears 72.
It might be.
It may have been.
I can watch the replay, but whoever, like, if you look at it, whoever was right behind Sonny Milano on the crease, just like did absolutely nothing. He just stood there.
Yeah,
like 5 seconds.
I got the credible source, aka my Sabres fan friend. So he said,
But
he said there's no.
I just wanted to mention that it was a dumb comment from Tortorella. I think it was just like a dumb thing to say. But
I dislike.
That's
him.
my
I've
take.
always disliked him. So
Tortorella sucks.
Stop living in the past. You know, like, how are you gonna have any reaction other than, wow, that was an insanely skilled play? Look at this very talented young rookie making a picture in the league and doing things well. Like,
and it immediately had an impact on people.
Yeah,
I'll be honest. Like, I think it's a little overplayed, but like, it's good for the league to see young players do stuff like this, get creative, like try to do new fun things. And the fact that ESPN was talking about it is like really good for them. You know, it sucks that they just don't want to put nationally broadcasted rivalries on national broadcasts, and they want to make us pay like $40 to watch.
I had a banger tweet about that, like 600
freaking Capitals and Penguins game, one of the best rivalries of the 21st century. But
the NHL is all like, hockey's for everyone. We want to grow the game, and then they put arguably the biggest rivalry in the entire sport on a separate broadcasting site that you have to pay extra money to watch. It's like that's the game that people are going to want to watch. That's the game that if people who don't watch hockey watch, they're going to be like, damn, this sport is sick. I'm going to watch it more. I'm going to watch hockey. But if they don't get the opportunity for it, how are you going to grow the game? Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, obviously they're trying to make more money, but
it's money,
make more money by making a big game like that free to watch. Disney. Then like,
do what the MLB kind of sucks. They're in a lockout.
Well,
MLB, but
yeah. So
I think it was a cool goal. It's really cool. You know, I think it's interesting.
I wish we had Trevor Zegras. That'd be nice.
Oh.
I wish we had a lot of different players.
And like Trevor Zegras, like this year, obviously, like the two front runners for the Calder, like the majority of this year have been Lucas Raymond and Seider, and then all of a sudden Zegras, like, because I mean, a lot of people's picks for the Calder, like the beginning of this year and like the end of last year, it was Cole Caulfield and Trevor Zegras. Obviously, Cole Caulfield's not happening now, but at least for right now, he's not winning the Calder. But I mean, obviously, Seider and Raymond are arguably the two top front runners right now, but Zegras shot up into that picture, into the top three of that race, like out of nowhere. So, I mean, just Tortorella, just, stop being old. But, yeah. But, so Alex Ovechkin, I already said this earlier, but because that was JP's pick for who's impressed him, but he didn't have any goals this past week in the 3 games. I'm a little upset about it, but like JP said, the greatest goal scorer of all time has all of a sudden decided that he's gonna become Nicholas Backstrom and drop 2 assists every single game. But I'm not complaining about that. Obviously, I love that. It gives another thing that the haters have to say about him a silence to it. It's like Ovechkin relies on the power play. Then he ends up leading the league in 5v5 points for the whole beginning of this season. All he does is shoot. He's a puck hog. He doesn't pass. Now he's leading our team in assists. He has more assists than he does goals. So it's like, keep the critique coming. He's just going to prove you wrong every single time. So I definitely like seeing that. But I don't want assists right now. Ovechkin, if you're listening to this, I want you to shoot. I want you to score goals. 6 shots a night isn't enough. I want 20. I need goals. I don't want assists. But again, obviously from the hockey standpoint, it's great that he's doing another thing that silences the haters. But I want some goals. But
he's hands down the Hart winner right now, I think, in my opinion. There's no other person that
I don't know if it's hands down, but I think he's definitely in the mix for it.
Hands down. I like McDavid and Draisaitl. Points are cool, but we've seen years past. You can score all you want, but if your team's like they haven't had to deal with anything near what Ovechkin's had to deal with. Like the fact that his one of his best centers is gone. Most of his wing core has been injured at some point. Look at every single one of the Capitals wingers, except I think Sprong and Ovechkin have been injured at some point this year. That they've been trouting in Hershey players every other week to play reliable minutes.
Ovi is only 1 point off of 29 and 97. Leon and Connor both have 45 right now, and Ovi has 44. So then I fourth place is still Nazem Kadri with 34 points. I don't know how.
Nazem, it's incredible.
Nazem Kadri has 34, but that top 3 is pretty solid right now. I mean, I don't think anyone else is going to crack into that top 3, but you got because that's what makes you think if the year ends tomorrow and it's okay, Leon and Connor both have 45, they have more points than Ovi, but it's only 1 point more. You got to think Ovi's not playing with any of those 2 top guys. They're playing with each other. I'm one of the biggest Leon Draisaitl fans you'll meet, but he has 1 goal in 5v5 in the last 10 games. Ovi's doing it on both ends, so you got to think it's do the award winners take that into consideration when they're giving the award? It's okay, say the 2 guys from Edmonton finish with a few more points, but it's Ovi's not playing with those 2 and he's 36 years old. So, I mean,
if Kuznetsov keeps playing really well, they might use that as the argument and be Kuznetsov was playing really well. Yeah. Kuznetsov was doing, but I'm I don't give a shit, man. It's Kuznetsov. I'd rather have McDavid than Kuznetsov. I'm sorry, but I'm sorry.
Kuzi has 30 points, but I mean, yeah, no, it's definitely something to think about because it's I think if they finish the season with the same amount of points, say Ovi and McDavid both finish with 120 points, I think you give it to Ovi just because he's 36 years old and because he's not playing with the other best player in the world. So it's definitely something to think about.
Shatter 100 points for the first time. He's almost at 50, and it's not even 30 games in.
Ovi's had 100 points.
He's about to shatter 100 points for the first time in a long time. He hasn't had 100 points since, I think, the 2011-2012 lockout. He hasn't had it since then, which is incredible because, Ovechkin getting to that caliber at this age is shit we haven't seen since Gretzky, which, surprise, surprise, look who's trying to catch in the goals record.
JP, who do you think wins the Hart if you had to pick right now?
I mean, if I'm voting, it's Ovi. I mean, the Caps are in first place in the division, and he's carrying the team with the injuries that they've had. And I think it's possible if things keep going this way that, because there've got to be some people out there who would vote Draisaitl over McDavid and some that would vote McDavid over Draisaitl. Maybe they split off some votes from each other and, Ovi finishes ahead of both of them or something. But it's a long way to go. I'm not counting any chickens quite yet, but certainly the way things are going so far, I don't know how Ovi isn't the guy. And, they people use, you can't have it both ways, right? You can't have, well, he plays on a great team that's with a great coach and they play great hockey. You can't say that and also take away from what the Caps are doing as a team, the way that people sort of are ready to discount what they are doing, what they've done. So, to me, my vote would be for Ovi. I think we're seeing just a historic performance from a guy at this age, and given what's around him right now and what the team's gone through, I would be really hard pressed to find a guy who fits the definition of that most valuable player award better than Alex Ovechkin has so far.
Yeah, I agree. And you also made a good point. Like, the Oilers are third right now in the Pacific, and we're first in the hardest division in hockey. So you also have to think about that in the definition of most valuable player. Like, if you have the Oilers and take away McDavid or Draisaitl, they're still going to have the other one. Obviously, they're not going to be as good of a team, but they're still going to have one of the top two players in the NHL. But you take Ovi away from the Capitals, we're not going to be doing as well as we are right now. So that is
sunk. Totally sunk.
Yeah.
I'm really not excited to play McDavid and Draisaitl. I forgot we haven't yet, and I'm still not excited to.
I'm excited.
With the shit that they're doing this year, bro,
game.
I'm not excited.
Game to watch. I'm
not excited for what they can do to us.
Hopefully not let them get on the power play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't let Kuzi on the ice.
Don't let Kuzi on the ice. I will say, so I'm looking at DraftKings. They have Alex Ovechkin as the third best to win, like odds wise, and McDavid is first, and then it's Draisaitl, and then behind him is Austin Matthews, which is funny.
Yeah, it's stupid.
It's Alex Ovechkin is beating him odds wise by like double than what you would win. Like, like if you bet, you know what I mean. If anyone bets on here, but he's he's the third bet. I think he should be the first, but you know what?
Screw DraftKings, he's winning it.
If I put money on Ovechkin, I win more money.
It's because they think the points, like, I'll be fair. In some cases, like when Draisaitl won it 2 years ago during the lockout season, that was because McDavid was injured a lot during that season, and he was getting points by himself a lot, and that was impressive. That's when he established himself as like a top player. And like obviously, you're not going to not like McDavid scored 100 points last year in a COVID lockout season. That's impressive as hell. You're going to give it to him. But like we're in a season where it's like a full season now. Like we got to kind of take away the fact that like points are just sort of they could sometimes be empty. Like Phil Kessel was a point per game player on the Penguins, but you don't see me saying, "Oh, Phil Kessel's a top 20 player in the league" when he was on this peak with the Penguins. Like points are empty if you don't do anything else with them. But like you have guys like Ovechkin who are scoring points, and they're like also just jettisoning people with his body like it's 2003. You have McDavid who's absolutely like scorching every defense alive like it's a contest. And then Draisaitl, who can score and do pretty much everything McDavid can do, just like maybe not as good, but like basically like a millimeter step below it. So like they at least establish themselves as something more than just like their point guys. Like they're more than just that, which is important in an MVP race. Like I think back to, I don't know if any you two might know this, but the 2018 MVP race. I think JP might.
Taylor Hall won it.
Hey, it was Hall versus McKinnon, and the reason they were both in consideration. I mean, McDavid was like scoring a crap ton of points, but McDavid wasn't even in consideration. I'm pretty sure. But the reason they weren't considered was because of what McKinnon had done with the Avalanche, taking them from last place in the NHL the year before to first place to back in the playoffs. And then Hall, who was literally carrying a bunch of like teenagers on the Devils to the playoffs against the Lightning, which was the reason he won, which was more impressive. Like,
shout out Buffalo Sabres legend Taylor Hall.
Yeah, that was the one goal he scored for them.
Dude, Ovi hasn't won a Hart since 2013. That just like, do you know how much that would like solidify him as like not even just the greatest goal scorer of all time, but like one of the greatest players of all time?
Oh, easily.
Like the fact, like he'd be the oldest Hart winner of all time. I'm pretty sure.
Did Gretzky ever win it when he was in LA? Because that's when because they were mentioning he's like one of the last guys to score this many points in like a 36 or older season. Because if he won it in LA, that he'd probably be. It has to be him because it's nobody else.
Well, Well, I mean, to your point, though, what you were saying, I think that is like a difference that voters take into consideration or should take into consideration, that the difference between best player and most valuable player, right? Because, I don't think I'm saying anything too controversial when I say that Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl are in 2021 better hockey players than Alex Ovechkin all around. And but are they more valuable to the Edmonton Oilers than Alex Ovechkin is to the Washington Capitals? I think that's a much harder case to make, and I don't see how you make it. But so if we are talking value, the value added by a player versus just being the best player, then I think it would be Alex. If people are voting on who the best player is, fill your boots with those two guys, because it doesn't get much better.
Absolutely. I hope this year that they really take into consideration that they're not locking up like two of the best offensive players in a division where no team has a defense, and it's like it's an even playing ground. It's like fair. Like they got to give Ovechkin some consideration. And obviously, we're 28 games in, and like we've seen this stuff before. Like a guy early on is like MVP.
So I found this. So if he wins the Hart this year, he would be the oldest player to win it. Right now, the oldest are Eddie Shore and Herb Gardner. They were both 35. So he would be the oldest.
Play for?
I don't know.
That's a player I've known. It must have been like the 40s.
He played for the Bruins.
That's gotta be.
By the way, Joey Gretzky did win on the Kings. By the way, he did win.
Thank you.
And Herb Gardner played for the Canadians. He was a defender, and Eddie Shore was also a defender.
What year did they win? Oh, if they were a defender, that had to be like.
I don't know. It was Eddie Shore only had 284 points in his career, and then Herb Gardner had 20 points in his career. So this can't be right. It doesn't make sense.
That has to be some like 40s hockey. That's some 40 hockey.
He was in the 20s. He was in the 20s. So he won a Hart Trophy and was inducted to the Hall of Fame in 1958. He played 3 seasons in the NHL for the Canadians and the Blackhawks, I think. And he had 10 goals and 10 assists in 100 games. So I don't know how this makes any sense, but
one goal every 10 games
is telling me he won the Hart. So I don't know. Maybe he was just the best defender ever that I've never heard of. But let's finish off with some predictions for the upcoming week. So we don't play until Wednesday. On Wednesday, we play in Chicago against the Blackhawks. On Friday, we play in Winnipeg against the Jets. And we play on Sunday versus the Kings at home. So, JP, I guess let's hear your predictions for the week ahead. So in Chicago, in Winnipeg, and at home against the Kings.
That's a tough little quick road trip to Chicago and Winnipeg. Marc-Andre Fleury has been playing well, I think, in Chicago, and they've been playing a little bit better. I think Winnipeg's tough. I always look at them and think they should be better than they are. They've got a good goalie. They've got some nice forwards. I think they'll be challenged to win those games. LA probably should be a little bit easier back home. So I have the Caps. How about that? I have them going 1-1-1 with an overtime loss in Chicago, a regulation loss in Winnipeg, and a win at home against Los Angeles.
I forgot. Like, we haven't been to Winnipeg in forever. Pandemic is crazy. I see us beating Chicago. I think by then we should have Wilson back, because there hasn't been any news about him being like out long term, and I think that they probably just sat him for precaution against the Sabres. So I think we'll win against them. Also, something to keep in mind, I know we talked about Backstrom. They did say that they want to get Backstrom like one game in before the holiday break. They want to. And there's a good chance they might do it next Sunday, because it's like probably the best chance to get him in. So we're going to be seeing a lot of our depth come back. Plus guys like Dowd and Hathaway are going to be coming off COVID lists. So we could definitely see a lot of them coming back. So I see them beating Chicago. I see them going in overtime and then probably losing against the Jets because the Jets are something else right now. And then who was last team? The Kings. They're coming to DC.
Yep.
I see them beating the Kings. I really thought the Kings were going to be a lot better this year, and they're kind of meh. So I see them going 2-0-1.
Jake?
Yeah, I think we beat the Blackhawks because I feel like we'll just be like angry from losing to them last game. We'll lose the Jets, Brendan Dillon revenge game, and then I think,
right.
like Joey said, the Kings. I think we'll beat the Kings. I think Quick hasn't been playing awful though, so
That Quick's been
you
decent.
never know. He's been decent, but I think we'll still beat them. But never bet against the Kings apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. I think we're gonna come back with a vengeance against Chicago. I think we're gonna beat Chicago. I think it's gonna be in regulation. Who do we play then? We play the Jets. Jets, I feel like it's going to go to overtime. I think it could go either way. I mean, if you look at the last few games for the Jets, they lost to Vancouver in a shootout on Friday. They beat Seattle on Thursday and lost to Carolina on Tuesday. So they're coming to us having lost 2 of their last 3, and they play Buffalo on Tuesday. But I think the Jets is going to be a close game. Like JP said, they have one of the better goalies in the league. Obviously, it's not been up to his standards this year, but I mean, he's still Hellebuck, so you still have to be cautious with that. But I'm going to say we beat the Jets. I'm going to be optimistic. I say we beat the Jets, and then Kings are going to be we can't go 3-0. We never go 3-0. So we're going to lose to either the Jets or the Kings. I don't know which one it's going to be. I think Jets is going to be close, but if this is how it is, if we beat the Jets, we lose to the Kings. If we lose to the Jets, we beat the Kings. So that's my take. So we'll see. But is there anything else you guys wanted to talk about? Or JP, are there any questions that you had for us that we could answer? The floor is open.
I'm good.
Alrighty. Jake, Joey, is there anything else you guys wanted to mention?
No.
Nothing right now. Can't think of anything.
So
being a degenerate, right?
Before I give my motivational, inspirational quote of the day, we'll get this. If you're listening right now, we love you. Thank you for listening. We appreciate each and every one of you. And again, JP, thank you so much for coming on. It was a pleasure having you here. So thank you again.
Thank you.
So much.
Yeah, thank you. We can't say that enough. So, motivational quote for the day, me, and that's why Will's not here. He's been busy with finals stuff. And the next 5 or 6 days are going to be a living hell for me and probably Jake also. I've got like 6 exams and like a numerous amount of essays to write this week. So God help me. But motivational quote for this week is, don't stop when you're tired. Stop when you're done. Keep powering through. Don't give up, whether it be something tiny or it could be your biggest dream in the world. Everyone's tired. I don't want to hear your excuses. I want you to work harder. Keep up the good work and get on your shit and get it done. So that's it.
Damn.
Thanks for listening this week. Thanks for listening this week. Some tough love.
Eric just called all y'all asses out. Have a good
Thanks
week,
again
everybody.
for listening, everybody.
Fun.
And have a good night.
Go Capitals. I hate Pittsburgh. Good night. All right. We're done.
All right.